Good. Are y'all surprised by the Thunder's dominance so far this season?
No.
20-1?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. One bit. They better than the rest of the NBA, man. That's why they won it. For one. For two, like I said, biggest free agent they got was confidence. Right? Them dudes, man, they came into this thing believing that they can do it again. And to do that, you got to get off to a hot start. We got to lock in from game one. No championship hangover like a lot of teams go through.
Yep.
We've seen that before where you come out and playing lackadaisical the first month of the season. Now you playing 500 ball. Now you really got to push the gas and turn it on to get like back to being 1-2 seed. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I think they did an excellent job, man. Shout out to Shai for leading that with your number 2 being out. With J-Dub being out, I think for them to still hold the fort down, and it's huge. It's huge for them, for their confidence moving forward for the rest of the season. And like I stated when we first talked about them, I think they're going to break the record.
Yeah.
Like they're going to break that 73-9. So
You talk about no championship hangover. They started the season with back-to-back double overtime wins against the Rockets, Pacers. Obviously, Pacers trash this year, but Rockets solid squad. But Swaggy, when you look at this Thunder, you surprised at all by how dominant they've been? We knew they were come out strong, but 20-1 right now, on pace to break the Warriors' single season wins record.
Nah, like he said, I feel like the confidence is there once you get that wolf off your back and you finally win. You could, it ain't gonna no stopping from there. And I feel like Shai has got that Kobe mentality a little bit. You don't become great until you win multiple. That's when they consider you one of the greatest. I feel like they all playing with that chip on their shoulder, and they are the best team in the league besides the Lakers.
Well, we will discuss what the Lakers got going on shortly. But that wolf off their back, is that Anthony Edwards?
Nah, that's Denver.
Okay.
When you get past the team that, people expect to beat you, and no matter how good you play, somehow they always win. When you finally get that victory, I feel like that gives you the confidence for sure.
Let's move over to Cemetery Larry. Looking at this Thunder squad, what they've been able to accomplish so far this season. No Jalen Williams for most of the season. Obviously, Hartenstein down now for a little bit. But SGA doing what he's doing, Chet playing at a high level. You got a lot of guys on that roster stepping up.
As y'all know, I like to talk hoop. So I think number one is you have to win the games you're supposed to win. I think getting off to a hot start is important. Both of them and the Lakers have done that. I think the Pistons as well. But when I look at their schedule, when you talk about who they've played thus far, minus the Rockets, you got a bunch of struggling teams that they've done exactly what they're supposed to do. From the Grizzlies to the Kings to the Warriors to the Clippers. They beat the shit out of the Lakers. I think this was before they kind of caught their stride. Hornets, Pelicans, Jazz, Blazers. Still think the Timberwolves are struggling a bit. Suns gave them a run for their money. Barely kind of got through the Blazers this last time. I think at any point during the season, you do have a challenge. And I think that's going to be something that either fatigue or injury is going to set in. If they happen to stay healthy the whole time, they can get a record. But the whistles they get, teams they've been playing up against, it's kind of difficult to kind of gauge it from my perspective, because they haven't really truly been tested. And I think once those tests come, we get to see how good they truly are compared to last year. Seeing that they didn't have any really major acquisitions in the summer, they just run it back, and we've always seen teams that don't do that struggle late. So it's going to be something of, to me, it's going to be a spectacle to see. I think it's going to be something that I'm looking forward to as far as a test. I just don't like the Kobe comparisons. for SGA. I just
We're
think
going to talk. We will talk about
just
that.
kind of leave that alone.
Yeah.
Mention somebody else. There's so many other players to mention. But yeah, he's playing well. I mean, despite all the things that's happening for the team and him being able to get out there and not play fourth quarters and all that type of stuff. Let him do what he do. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got nothing to do with the homie.
They beating people by damn near 16 points a night, bro. They didn't make the schedule.
That's what I say.
So they going to only play the team
the
that's in
games
front
you're
of them.
supposed to win.
Well, that's all of them
Win the
right
game
now.
you're supposed to win.
So good. You look at this Thunder squad, about a quarter of the way through the season, 21 games, have won 20 of those 21 games.
It looks like the same thing when after Golden State won their championship and they started that next season damn near undefeated, right? That was with Luke Walton.
Yeah.
Right, they came out with a hot start. And it's the same thing, right? You've proved to yourself that you are champions. You prove to yourself that you are the best team by winning the championship the year before. And they didn't think that was good enough for them, right? They wasn't satisfied with just winning the championship because I don't think they liked the way they did it. With rumbles and, you have Hallie talking about if he was playing, they would have won that game. So, you know what I mean? Little things like that, right? Kept that championship team wanting more, and they've shown it, right? Their record's 20-1. They've been tested. If you look at preseason rankings and who was ranked, who was 2, who was 3, who was 4, they smacked on them. Where they are now, that's irrelevant, right? Clippers were supposed to be the second best team in the league. Smack daddy, right? They beat Denver, they beat Houston, they beat the Lakers. They beat every team that's supposed to meet them in the championship, right? The team they lost to, bottom feeder. They just let up. But every team that was preseason, and you look at their preseason ranking, they've beat through them, right? So when we say who is,
They haven't played the Nuggets yet.
they beat them Nuggets by 3, I think.
They haven't played the Nuggets yet.
Let me double check for you. They have not played the Nuggets yet.
10-17, that wasn't the Nuggets?
Preseason.
On the preseason? Well, they beat them by 3. They beat them niggas by 3, right? So, the test is themselves, right? It's who's going to beat them is them. There's no opponent that they're afraid of at this point.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't see them beating themselves.
Like usually when a team loses, it's inner,
Yeah, I don't.
right? You're fighting within each other, right? You're fighting who wants the ball, who needs the ball, who is the star, right? Right? The star, the second option leaves, somebody steps up, right?
AJ Mitchell's balling, been balling out.
And then Hartenstein goes out, and they get J-Dub back.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they got like we've been saying, they got plug and play guys, man. Like they've done an excellent job at scouting and drafting and getting the same like-minded, like-skilled guys that if a guy goes down, they can plug another guy in, man. So they got the league figured out, man. We're gonna come out, we're gonna defend y'all at a high level. We got multiple guys to do that. We're gonna get after y'all on the defensive end. And the games are over after 3 quarters.
Yep.
So we can rest this guy. He's going to be fresh at the end of the season because you don't have the miles that he normally would have had. So,
Yep.
especially, they get through this month with 2 losses. Come on, like let's be honest. Like if they lose 2 games this month or 3 games this month, they're still ahead of the curve. Like they are still like.
So you got that 2015-16 Warrior squad, started the season 24-0, didn't get their second loss till game 31. They were 29-2. Just something for us to monitor right now. It's Thunder 20-1.
Yeah. How did they end the season that year? How did it end?
They were 73-9 that year.
73-9.
What happened?
What do you mean?
Did they win the championship?
They did not.
Oh,
Face the juggernaut.
you know why? Because it's still the NBA.
Yeah.
Still got play. Still got teams still going to battle to the end, still going to test your might. That's why I'm hoping they get to a point where they're comfortable, like everybody's saying. But I still think there's a Detroit, there's teams out there that could step up to that challenge and beat them when it matters most. I think the momentum will take them over the top, just like the Lakers continue their momentum. They'll get to where they need to be. Certain teams can ride the momentum, but I think the true test is going to come when you're playing against teams who match up with you well, who going to push you to the limit, who's going to force the whistles to balance out. I think that's what Houston did early on in the first game. Took them to the limit.
So what teams is that you speak of?
Maybe 4, 5 teams.
Which teams?
Denver, Houston. I like San Antonio. I like Detroit. I like the Knicks.
Of the ones you named, I go with Denver because they got the equalizer and they revamped their roster, and Detroit. Other than that, they gonna smack the rest of them dudes. And the only team they got to worry about over there
I
is
think Detroit would beat them in the
No.
championship.
No, I said Denver, Detroit.
Yeah. You think Detroit would?
But
I think Houston beats them.
compete with them.
I think a healthy Wemby.
I don't think
In the
Houston has
7-game
enough.
series?
Yeah.
I don't think Houston got
I think
enough.
Detroit's too
100%.
young right now.
Because they can take what's name out the
Detroit.
game.
No, I don't
In a
think,
couple of years,
I don't
right?
think
They can take Reshab out of the game.
It's competition, right?
Yeah.
When you step up to compete against a team who's mentally tough, they stabilize, they understand what to do. The competition rises to the occasion. It's not necessarily what you did last year. None of that. It's how we play. It's how we. Am I gonna step up and stop SGA based on my competition level? Not I'm scared or he getting whistles. I
in
think
the playoffs,
Nobody been doing
the
it.
other guys got to make big shots too, though.
first
And
game of the
who you
season.
relying on in Detroit besides?
I agree.
That's the thing I'm talking. You know,
But they're not fully healthy either. So, and you think about you think about Houston, that game they lost, Amen Thompson, I think he was out early. So it was a lot of things that happened.
He played that game.
He played, but he got hurt. I think he got hurt early.
Cramps.
Yeah.
He had cramps.
And that was late in the game, and they took them to the overtime.
Jalen Williams.
Double overtime.
But what
happened?
Jalen Williams.
But what happened?
So it makes it a
But what
tough
happened
game.
though? But what happened?
They found a way to win.
But what happened when that shit said triple zeros? What was the
No,
final
I get
result?
that. That's not a part of the conversation.
No. So no, but you
Not
brought
my point. That's not my point.
But what happened though? You brought it up. But
But
what
that's
happened,
not my
though?
point. My point is
But
the
they lost.
competition.
But they lost.
Yeah, we get it.
Same
I get
competition.
it. No, I get
because
it.
they
That's-
lost that competition.
That's the end. But I'm talking about the game.
Well, you brought the end of the season up, so I'm
No,
bringing
but
in the games
I'm
up.
explaining the gameplay.
Yeah, they lost.
I
They
get it.
lost.
No, we got it. They lost.
Yes, to
the
team that we
gameplay.
speak of.
The gameplay.
Yeah.
How they lost.
But they
I
had
like
more
to talk
points.
who.
The other team had more
I
points.
don't want to skip to the end.
The other team had more
I like to
points.
walk them through the whole movie.
So that was 20 games ago.
So when we say at the end of the game,
That was 20 games
KD
ago.
stay on the floor.
That was 20
He
games
don't
ago.
jump for that little pump fake.
We're talking ifs and fifths.
Oh, don't we do that all the time?
Not ifs and fifths.
Yes,
we know
we do.
We know the result.
We talk about ifs and fifths all the time.
So we know the result though. They lost.
So that's why I say the challenge for them, beyond the ifs and fifths, coming up, if you compete the way they competed against them in that game, you got a chance.
That is.
So you don't think they've done that?
That's a first game of the season, playoff type game, double overtime. We take it to the edge.
So you don't
So
think
now-
they've done that?
The first
No,
game of the
Why you
they
think-
haven't been tested like that.
But why you they go into every game with that mentality. That's
No, I'm
why
not talking about them. I'm talking about the other teams.
That's why they put them teams away within 3 quarters.
Oh, the other teams don't have what Houston had.
Well, they smacked them. So the other
They-
teams ain't got a chance.
They went into overtime.
If
right
they beat
after
that said
the second
team,
game.
other teams ain't got a shot.
Against the Pacers, we now know the
They went
Pacers.
into overtime.
They ain't got a
again.
shot.
And
And
these
they
are
figure out how
games
to
that-
win.
Playoff tight games.
Ooh, guys are
we're
getting
not
up for 'em, and they
we're not saying
lose.
They
They
not
gonna get up.
capable of being the veteran team. that
Everybody
know
get
how
up
to-
for 'em.
Know how to win the game late.
They the champs.
in the
Everybody
stretch.
get up for them.
We got that.
Right?
But every single team in the past
Stacking up wins.
that has been the champs, from Milwaukee to Denver to Boston
Definitely,
Celtics, we've had the conversation of saying, hey man, these guys figured it out. They got this team and they could come back next year and whoop, whoop, whoop. What happened to Jason Tatum? All the way up until the end, the Boston Celtics looked good.
Yeah, but they were on verge of losing that season or losing that series even with.
That's what I'm saying. So even though they start hot and we looking at the defending champs,
But
like
you all
y'all
over
should
the
come
place.
back. Y'all should come back and be something.
Yeah.
it don't
thought
mean
they was
that you're
gonna
going to
come
do that.
This nigga all over the place like
don't
you playing
mean that.
Twister in this bitch,
Another
boy.
thing I like
You got to follow.
Shai played.
Follow.
I can't. You all over
No,
the
it's not.
red dot, green dot, red dot, blue dot, nigga. You.
It all come back to the black dot.
Hey,
Pay attention.
Shit, I'm trying, but you got niggas over this bitch stretch this arm, this
Yeah.
want me to put my left arm behind my back to touch this one and my
Gotta
left
listen.
like.
You gotta listen to comprehend.
But when you look at this Thunder squad,
That's it.
when you look at this Thunder squad versus those other teams that you mentioned, they're in a very good position. They got
very different
Yeah.
because this team actually, each player knows their identity.
Man.
No one's having crisis. No one is thinking they're option 2 or option. Option 2 knows he's option 2. He's fine with being option 2. Option 3 knows he's option 3. The defenders know they're the defenders, so there's no mid-season ego. So if someone tries to run the narrative like they did against Boston, who is the number 1 option here, that doesn't work with that team.
Yeah.
This team is coming out dominating, right? They're not having these ups and downs, games, losing here, winning here. It's just like Golden State. Even though we know what happened at the end with Draymond getting suspended and that kind of handicapped that team, other than that, that team walked through the NBA. Steph Curry was sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter.
Same as this.
Same as this. Sitting on the bench and watching, laughing, playing throw the bottle top. That's how easy regular season was for them. And right now, there's no team right now today that looks stable 10 games straight to say, okay, they can compete with them. Everybody's sitting there doing what regular season does, and this team they look the same as when the Bulls was doing it. Golden State we have references now where we can go back and see, okay, when the Bulls did the 72-10, what they look like. This is what it looks like.
They played.
Where do you feel like this Thunder squad stacks up against some of those all-time great
Don't
NBA
know.
squads? When you look at what they've been able
Don't
to put.
know. To the end of the season, to the end of the regular season for one, see what their record is at the end of the regular season and see what they do in the postseason. Then you judge it. After 21 games, they are the best team in this NBA this year.
But even
we're not
coming
gonna
off
put
last season, winning
we're not
the
gonna
chip.
That's fine. That's last year. They got that in their pocket already. That's in the bank. Cool. You got to win another one. And go doing it the way they're doing it now will put them in the conversation with those teams. But we got to finish the regular season at this trajectory like they have been, putting motherfucking BTA, nigga, belt to ass, and go have a couple sweeps in the playoffs and things like that. Then you'll be like, oh shit, they really for real.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I ask a
That's the way it
question?
looks.
Do teams normally get better throughout the season, or do they get worse?
Really good teams get better. Good teams get better.
Just making sure.
Bad teams get worse.
So a lot of these teams, we look at the East and you look at the West, the standings, right? Is it a representation of good teams playing bad?
I mean,
Like we look at-
Clippers supposed to be number 2.
Well, I'm talking.
what would
Let's
you
start with
rank?
the East. 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. Those
gotta-
teams right there
they gotta
usually
be-
are in the top 5,
But they're not. They're where they are.
right? So they've been playing bad basketball, but the East is not the greatest.
Never.
You look at the West. The top 4 teams, we could predict top 4 teams are the top 4 teams. Like you said, the Clippers, where they at? 14? Shit. So they not one of the teams that's up there. Grizzlies,
They're starting to play better.
Dallas, we wouldn't have predicted Dallas to be so far down. Certain teams that we're like, yo, it's either these teams got a long way to go as far as turning it around, or we now got to consider them bottom half of the conference now. So for me, I'm looking at it like, all right, we do got a long way to go. But Kawhi sitting there real optimistic about how they can turn it around and still
Turn what around?
their season.
Boy, this shit over.
So however you mix it, you still got good teams that feel like they're good. They just need to get it together. They need to figure it out. When you talking hoop, you got 2 teams that's figured it out. They striving. OKC figured it out. They like, look, we ain't taking our foot off the gas. We gonna keep this bitch rolling. So if you can't figure them out, they gonna keep doing it. But history tells us 73-9 don't mean shit. That's all I'm saying. 73-9 don't mean shit if you ain't gonna take it all the way over. And you don't got a LeBron James on the other side that's gonna stop you. But you do got teams that's got guys that can play.
But the problem is this. everyone can get better. They can get better.
They can,
So the fact that they're dominating now and they have not played with their whole roster, that's the bad part, right? That if they're 20-1 right now with this and how their lineup has been and you haven't had the full lineup, there's no other team that can say, hey, we're waiting for our guy to get back. So that's them. They're saying that. When we get our guys back, y'all in trouble. That's what they get to say. So I don't think there's a team in the East right now that is even loaded enough to beat anybody in the West. It's going to be a West championship, right? It's going to be like OKC, if they get hurt, right, knock on wood, that's the only reason they won't be in a championship, or unless they run against Jokic and Jokic is saying, fuck all y'all, and do what he does best, right? Those are the two right now we know are very elite. The team is elite. Not OKC, but Houston's problem is the best players are very young. And we know during playoffs, sometimes, this is not an OKC young where the team is young, but the best player is 26, everybody else is kind of a little older. We're talking about Sangoon's on his 30. That is a young group of guys.
Jabari.
And they still play young, right? So I really don't see them making it all the way, but I see them like giving somebody some trouble. Golden State is one of those teams like, if you don't really have a great game plan, number 30 gonna tear you up.
they could turn it around.
But
They could turn it around.
Yeah, they can turn it around.
And remember, February is the deadline, right? So we still can maneuver shit around roster-wise,
But
and make other teams look.
That's to say.
But
I'm saying just for everybody. Like for everybody, it's AD
here's the
talking
crazy
about.
part, though. The Thunder could do that and make some fuck you trades
They
just to
can, 'cause they got a lot of.
Not to say they will, but
How many teams have won the championship? I can just think of the Detroit Pistons that made a
In-season trade.
a major trade, and that player helped them win the championship.
took them over the top.
Yeah.
That don't happen.
That's really hard.
saying
They
they
come
have
out
the
moving
luxury.
Because usually a team that does that is
Certain
desperate.
Lakers.
With Paul Gasol in them.
No, that was
It wasn't mid-season, was it?
that was a midseason.
But Javaris, remember he came to our team?
Yeah, that was at the beginning of the season. That was in the summer. And they didn't win a championship that
Boston wasn't. No, it wasn't Boston.
No.
That's probably the last one.
Yeah, the
Detroit.
last Detroit.
Boston.
Hold on.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was February 2008 was that trade.
Yeah, so they didn't win a championship that year. They wanted to.
But made it to the
it was in
finals.
February, right?
Black History Month.
That would be the only thing I think that would scare OKC. If somebody made a good trade, a good acquisition to a guy that could help them win,
Yeah.
that would be the deterrent.
Not saying they could do that, but if they have some injury issues or any situations, they have some draft capital at their disposal.
When did Drew Holiday get there?
Yeah, was that missed
Did they make a trade mid-season?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
before the deadline?
I'm not sure.
They won that year.
During the COVID? No, after the COVID.
was
I don't
after.
know. Yeah, I don't know. But I know it's
It's
rare.
rare.
It's rare.
Yeah, it's rare for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about SGA. SGA coming off an MVP season, one of the front runners again this season, with his consistent bucket reaching historic levels. SGA dropped 26 in the win over the Blazers to his extended streak of consecutive regular season 20-point games to 93, passing Wilt for the second longest all time. Wilt also holds the record for the longer streak with 126 games. No other players in league history have reached 90-plus games, and the next longest active streak is only 19 games. SGA also currently leads the league in clutch points despite only playing the fourth quarter in 10 of his 21 games this season. So when you look at what SGA is doing, 93 straight regular season games with 20-plus points, how impressive is that streak?
Crazy.
It's the greatest thing we've seen.
Man.
I'm pretty sure there's nobody alive that's talking sports that actually seen Wilt do what Wilt did. So for most of the reporters, this should be the greatest thing you've seen. Somebody hold 20-plus this long.
So 93 20-plus point games or 1,297 10-plus point games?
20.
Okay.
We seen what 10. We seen what all you need to do to get 10. we like 10 ain't dominant. 20 is considered dominating, right? 10 ain't. Right? that ain't dominating.
Had a cool 10.
Jordan didn't do that?
Huh?
Jordan didn't do that?
90 something? Nah.
93 straight.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking about 90 something games of
So they had
20
a
plus.
game. Yeah.
That's, I mean,
That's kind of crazy.
we wasn't watching basketball when Wilt played. Most of the shit Wilt did, we didn't even see. He shouldn't even be up there.
They could have been capping. They just changed the box score.
Finished with 18.
Like I do in youth league.
That's it.
It must have been a blowout. So.
They just changed it, add a little free throw like we did in youth league. All right, but let's get to a very important conversation. We got Gerald McCoy here.
What year did he do that? Wilt, the first one.
Let me see.
I mean, when did he start it? From the day he came into the league?
Yeah, I think he had like 340-point games or some shit.
I'm trying to see who's alive to witness that. I'm just saying, like, so if they're not talking about this as this is the greatest thing?
October 19th, 1961 to January 19th, 1963.
So basically, nobody that's in sports there's nobody who should be alive, right?
Yeah, sure.
There's a few.
My daddy.
There's a few.
He was born there. You had to be talking sports.
Yeah, was born for
So that means for you to be talking sports, you had to be about 20, 25,
There's one.
right?
Skip was born in 1950.
50. It was 50. So,
1922.
you know what I'm saying? So
It was on Fox Sports.
Outside.
1950s.
am I wrong?
With the radio.
Is my math off a little bit?
37, 62 years ago. Yeah, they would be in their 80s.
Huh?
They would be in their late 80s.
When?
If they were around to see that while they were of age to be a sports journalist at that time.
They would no, for a journalist, they would have had to be at least 20, 25.
At least 20.
That's what I'm
At
saying.
least 20 years
So
old.
they'd be in their late 80s.
How old would they be right now?
20
They'd be in their late 80s if I'm not, my math
Look, goes for
is not off.
So they've been 80s.
It's 200 and
Joe Lewis, 173 years old.
back on.
64, yeah, they'd be in their mid to late 80s right now if they were alive to cover.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They're working for Jet Magazine.
So 83, yeah.
You seen it?
We got